When he turned his back from shoulder to shoulder, it looked like as wide as the tailgate of a truck.
And just darkness, literal darkness, just came like all over, just all over me except where I was standing.
This thing let out the most blood-curdling, mind-blowing, spine-tingling scream that you've ever heard in your life, and it cut through me like a knife.
And I knew that they were going to take me. I just knew it. And then the next thing I can remember is being levitated.
Well, when I look in there, I see two big eyes staring back at me.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Bump Podcast, a place for the believers of the unexplained, monsters, and paranormal. Join us, and we'll go face to face with what goes bump in the night. Hey there, believers. I got another good show for you today. This week, I'm bringing on Jordan. He reached out to me on Instagram. We had a little back and forth conversation. Apparently, this guy has had dozens of paranormal experiences, as well as an abduction or a near abduction experience with a UFO that got my attention because he said he was able to stop it. And the way he stops it is very interesting and very near and dear to my heart. So I can't wait to bring him on. I don't want to give too much more away. Let me go ahead and just bring him on right now. While we wait for Jordan to get a hold of that link, let me just tell you that I got a couple of conventions I'm going to go pop in on. One is the Paranormal Expo, West Virginia Case Paranormal Expo at Cheat Lake Fire Department in Morgantown. That'll be on the 8th of October. So it'll probably already happen before this airs. But I'm saying that along with on the 15th, I believe it is, it's a West Virginia Wild and Weird Con. It'll be in Logan, West Virginia, at Chief Logan Lodge. Those two events, hopefully you guys made it there. Hopefully you guys will make it there depending on when this airs. Either way, my members only supporters, my Patreon supporters, they will get to see undoubtedly some kind of footage, some kind of interviews, some kind of whatever. Maybe just the experience of me and Dad traveling to these places. We're going to take you along with us. So that and tons of other stuff is on the members only section. Go check it out. I hope you like it. And I'm sorry, I'm just feeling a little bit off my game right now. Let's go ahead and just bring Jordan on.
All right, man. How are you? You doing all right?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So I know we kind of talked a little bit before we started recording about like where to start and just listing out how many things. It's 15, 20. I can't keep track. There's just so many things have happened from being a kid on to where even now. 2 years ago was the newest one.
Wow.
Well, actually about 6 months ago, something happened. So yeah, we can start in the beginning and just go from there if that's cool with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So growing up, I'm an 80s kid, right? Born 85. So we didn't have internet. We went outside and played, 9 to 9 at night, the neighborhood kids getting into trouble, all that kind of stuff. And the neighborhood I grew up in where we are now, there was just seems to be something going on in the neighborhood where like weird things would happen randomly and certain people would notice it or catch it, sort of the group of kids. And then a few times like everyone saw it. So there was just a lot of weird stuff. But one of the biggest ones that kind of, in my opinion, kicked off everything else was when I was 13, me and my best friend, my brother, we saw a UFO, right? And it sounds crazy, whatever, but it's vivid. I'll never forget what it looked like. It made no noise at all. So Whether it was an alien thing or like a government secret plane thing, I don't know. But whatever it was, it put that fear of an otherworldly thing like deep inside. Like it was terrifying to me.
Yeah, no doubt. What did it look like? Can you describe it?
Yeah, so I'll just kind of like tell the event and
Yeah.
it'll explain it. So we were out, had to be 8:30, 9 o'clock in the summer. It was dark, cloudy out. We're under a street light, thinking, do we want to play like manhunt is what we used to play, right? So we were like, oh, we're on our bikes with the pegs on it, right? Everyone's standing on pegs. And we look up at the sky and there's like a cloud that's glowing, like something's coming out of it. So of course we're like, oh, well, everyone look. So we look up and out comes this craft, I guess would be the word. Four lights, I think they were white or yellow. I mean, they were bright. And it just comes out of this cloud. It looks like an oval, right? Or like a cigar shape, actually, would be what I would say. And we're just staring at it, like, what in the world is this? And then all at the same time, all of us got intense, like, we need to get out of here. Like, this is not good. Something's not good is going on. So it was me and my best friend, and we started riding our bikes towards my house, which was around the corner of this long bend. His house was actually closer, and my brother, his little brother, and his older brother all ran to his house. I don't know why we decided to go the other way. Maybe divide and conquer. I don't know what we're doing. So we start going on the bend on the bike, and we keep looking back, and it's just like coming, following us. Didn't follow the other ones, and we go around the bend, and we almost to my house, and it just flies over the court. And so we turn around because we're like, it's gonna get us, right? I mean, we're on bikes. Like, I mean, come on. So we flip around and we go back to the other way, and it starts following us. And we were just terrified. I mean, completely just scared because it's, something that you don't see. We know what it is. We're 13. Like, you don't see that in real life. So we just haul it and we keep looking back and almost crash the bike because we, terrified, and we finally jump off and run up to his house, and we didn't leave the house for like 2 days. But that was the first in that I can remember event that was like, what the heck? What the hell was that?
All right.
Couple of weeks later, that's when the weirdness started. So there was this big lake in the neighborhood that was on my property, and we're all hanging out, playing whatever, and we see like a big rock in the lake, but it's floating, and we're like, wait, what is that? Well, we didn't know what it was, so we fish it over. We start pulling it over, and this thing is like huge, man. Like it's floating in the lake. And we're like, what the heck? We call our dads over, pick this up. It's super heavy. Takes 3 grown men to pick it up. It's all sharp around all of it.
What?
So look at it like this, right? Like a diamond. It's all super sharp and heavy, but it's floating. Like what the?
Yeah.
What the hell is that? It was like a couple weeks after we saw the UFO.
Yeah. What happened to that?
So we pulled out of the water. And my buddy, my best friend, he was moving. They built a house and they had like a man-made little lake in their backyard where they ended up putting it in there. And for years, that thing would just float around that lake. And when we were in our 20s, one day we went over there, it was gone. I don't know if it sunk. I don't know if they came and got it. And I'm like, dude, drain this stupid little lakey pond you have and let's see if this thing is in.
Yes.
Because if it's not in there, and even if it was a meteorite, I mean, that's worth some money for that. That's big. The thing was huge.
Kidding.
It was nuts. So, I mean, that was like a weird little like, what is that?
Hold on, man. This could still be in a man-made lake, like a pond.
Oh, in his parents' backyard. It could still be in there, either sunk or it's gone. Either someone stole it or
it
they
flew
came and
out.
got it. I don't know what.
I would not be able to sleep at night, man.
Now the weird part, I'll never forget when the dads were pulling it out, right? There was these red worms that were coming out of it, which was super weird. I just remember them coming out and we were like, what the hell is this? We were all grossed out by it. No idea. No clue what that was.
Was it metal?
It was like a
rock?
Now as an adult, and I think it was a rock. I mean, that's what we thought, but now when I'm thinking about it, it may have been a meteorite. I mean, it had holes inside, it was like bladed around the sides, but there was like holes in it. And so, I mean, no idea.
Oh my god.
No idea. Some kind of rock.
And
I want it.
You know where it could possibly still be.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You get you a snorkel, man.
Go in
Like,
there and find out.
for real, you got to find out.
I know, right? I always tell him like, dude, drain this pond, man, because it's like a
Yeah.
muddy little pond. Like, get this out of here. Like, let's see what's in this thing.
Yeah, let's get to it. Get to it. Wow. All right. You got physical evidence floating around in the pond. What
Somewhere, I know, right? But see, after this happened, we would, we're playing, and they would just be weird stuff. I mean, one person would see like a shadow on the other side of the street, or in the, you just see weird stuff. I remember one time we were all playing in the court at nighttime, and some big thing flew over all of us, like an animal, like a bat, but like the body was like that big.
Wow.
And only like 3 of us saw it, but we never knew what it was. We're like, what is going on? Then we all ended up moving away, and we thought it was kind of done. But that all of this sparked that whole paranormal, like, and then stupid kids playing. We started playing with Ouija boards. So dumb. Oh, dumbest thing ever. And I remember did it a couple times on my own. It's moving around. I mean, it was creepy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we would do that at different places. We did it in our new house, and it must have opened something, because from that point on, for the next 5 years, my house was super haunted, man.
Really?
Oh yeah, like middle of the day, I'll never forget watching TV, and there's just stuff like flying all over, and I'm just like, love this movie, just ignoring it. It was a great show, man. Just trying to like not look, because it's all over peripheral, right? It's like,
Oh,
and it was a nightmare, because it just wouldn't go away. We found out later that the couple that my parents bought it from, they were about to get divorced. They moved out, and literally within 2 years, my parents got divorced when they got in the house.
really?
So I don't know if it's something in the house. I think there may have been something in the house, but us messing with the stupid board probably ignited it. Then them fighting each other, all the drama of all that. I'm sure there was like a feast.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's
You
wild.
know,
Well,
yeah.
I know kids are kids, and I'm not going to say that I've never touched one in my life, because I may have when I was young. But what were you trying to find out, or
It was just
just
fun.
yeah,
Just seeing if it was real.
yeah?
And it was real. It was 100% real.
Oh yeah, they're real.
It was 100% real. And I mean, there'd be times like, I mean, at that point I was like 15, 16, but me and my brother, we watching TV, and it just sounded like somebody just banged the dryer as hard as possible,
Yeah.
and nobody's there.
Hmm.
We're the only ones in the house, and we're like, oh my God, dude, like, what is going on?
Yeah, man.
I mean, it was terrible. The worst one, this one, it's still to this. I mean, it's so vivid. Wake up middle of the night. We had bunk beds, right? These stupid metal bunk beds, and I just hear like walking to my door. We had like a sliding door,
Hmm.
and the sound of the walking was like if you have jeans and you're walking around and you hear that like that noise. So I'm hearing it, and I think it's my grandma. She used to live with us back then. I'm like, what is she doing up? Because she would yell at us, "You're too loud!" Right? We've been asleep. We haven't made noise. So I'm like, what? The door slides open, and I look over my shoulder, and you can just see this dark figure, like foot of the bed walk, come around. I'm on the bottom, and I look up at it, and it's just pure darkness. And I realized that ain't grandma.
No,
Thank my God, that's nobody checking on us. And I just rolled over and started praying. I was so scared, and it just stood there. And finally, and I heard it walk away, and it shut the door, which was weird. And then the next morning, hey, did anyone come in my room last night? No, what are you talking about? You guys were asleep.
Right.
Yep, something came.
Yeah, man.
Yep, terrifying. That was like the scariest. But we would do stuff like we would all sleep over, and we were like playing around. We would like had like a tape recorder right before the phones, right? So like a tape recorder, and we'd all be talking and just mess around, and we would just listen back to it, and you'd hear like coughing or like a weird noise, and we're like, nobody did that. Like we listened to a whole hour, and every 5 minutes you hear like like a noise, and none of us did it. Like we would have known, and it was just stuff like that, man. It would just happen.
Yeah,
and it was fun, but it was scary because you're like, what is really going on?
Oh yeah, it's scary.
Yeah,
It's
it
scary.
would get to that point where it was like, we'd be playing hide and seek and someone would be like, yo, there's someone behind you. And they'd see like a dark being standing behind
Yeah,
the kid.
it feels like this kind of stuff just happened when we were kids. Like before we got wrapped up staring at our phones, like people would still be having these stories now if they would just went outside in the dark and played.
I,
I
I don't know, man, because there's stuff that's happened way after the phones. Like I was 22. This one was the most blatant. There's something messing with you, and you're an adult, so you can't play the whole "oh, I'm a kid" or "I'm gonna smoke wrist." Like I was 23 or 4 or something,
right,
or 20. I don't, I was an adult. I went to my aunt's house and we'd hang out in the garage and we drink or we play Xbox, original Halo stuff like that. And they just had their baby, my little cousin, and they're putting him to bed. So I show up and they're like, hey, we're going upstairs to make sure he's asleep. We'll be down in like 20 minutes, get a beer or whatever. I'm like, cool. And they had the square TVs, right? The old school one. And I'm like watching it and the volume starts going up on the TV. Like I'm not touching the remote, right? The remote's away. And the volume's like getting loud, it's getting really loud. And I'm like, what is going on? Maybe it's like it's old, maybe it's a glitch. So I like the remote, the batteries are dead. So I physically touched the bottom, the volume down button. I'm
right.
holding it in. 0. All right, cool. Take it off. It starts going back up.
Mm.
And I'm like, these damn old TVs, do it again. Starts going back up. And I'm like, what is happening? And the weird part is as it's getting louder, it's at max volume, but it's so loud that it's like it feels like the room is like it's like a movie theater.
Right.
And now I don't want to wake the baby up.
You're right.
So I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble. Like this is bad. So I turn off the TV. I'm like, well, problem solved. It's turned off. Turns back on, man. On its own, starts going up in volume. And I'm like, turn it off again. And now I'm starting to be like, oh shit. Like this is something happening.
Right.
And it turns back on and it's getting super loud. And I look at the cord and I'm like, I'm gonna unplug this. And if this TV turns on, I'm running and I'm never coming back here again. So I start reaching, right? And right before I touch it, the garage door flings open and my aunt's like, what are you doing? You're gonna wake him up. And I turn to her and I'm white, like super pale. And she's like, what is going on? And I'm like, the TV, I'm like trying to explain what's going on.
Right.
It keeps turning on, like the volume. And she's like, can you turn it down? And I'm like, watch. I turn it down and it stays down.
Of course. Of course.
And she's like, and she's known a lot of the stuff that's happened. She's like, she always called it my dark passenger.
Oh, wow.
She's like, oh, your dark passenger, tell them to leave. That we don't want. I'm like, this is they've had that TV. It's never done it again. It's never done it since.
Wow.
Ever. And I was just sitting there. I was like, if I pull this cord and this TV comes on,
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna scream.
Yeah.
I'm gonna freaking run away.
Well,
And it's just, it was wild.
so this stuff happened to you enough that your aunt called this your dark passenger.
Oh yeah, yep. It would be this stupid joke she would say, and I'm like, whatever, man. I don't know what it is.
Man.
Yeah.
So what makes it dark? Why can't it just be like a little buddy?
I know, right? I think it's because of the mischievous nature, and there's a few times that she would I mean, my family's we're Puerto Rican, so we talk about this stuff. It's not
Oh, yeah.
something that is like a hidden thing. Like we would be at Thanksgiving. I'll never forget. We had a German Shepherd. The whole family is eating, and he starts losing it, like hackles, like evil bark, like going nuts, like scared. And the whole family turns and looks at the front door, and he's staring in the corner, like for like 20 minutes. And I mean, this happened. Like we all know that this stuff is real, and we all know that. But yeah, some of us are like not scared of it. Like now, as older I am, and I've learned so much about all this stuff that I am not scared of anything like that. Just because I know that whether it's a shadow, a demon, or a bad spirit, it's not in a physical body, so therefore it's not stronger than us.
Right.
Unless you give it power over you, which a lot of people do because they're scared.
Yeah.
But if you can, you can command it to leave and it has to listen as long as you believe that you have the power to do that. But there's been all kinds of stuff, man. I mean, like even a few years ago, it's just it doesn't seem I don't know if I'm marked or if I can just tell. I don't know if I can see. I can't really see them anymore. Like as a kid, I could. I can't. Now it's feeling. It's all like.
Yeah.
Now I went to a Walmart and felt like sick. I've never had that, and I'm like, something's in the Walmart, and it's happened twice, like 2 years apart. I'm like, what is going on? I believe it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, somebody or something
It's like,
is in that Walmart,
yeah, you got a sensitivity to it.
or somebody did a ritual. Something's going on
Yeah.
in that Walmart. But yeah, my wife. I mean, she's had stuff where I wasn't even here. I was out of the house, and she's like, come home, and there's like a bag that's literally looks like somebody's like throwing it, like touching and throwing it and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, in our old house, the one before the one I'm in now. That house had something in it, I think, because I've always felt like I was gonna wake in the night and see something standing. I never did, except for that's the house that the abduction almost happened in. But besides that, there wasn't. I didn't see anything, but my wife would get something. She would see something like running by the door and stuff like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So is she sensitive to this stuff too, or is it just
Yeah. No, she's I would say she is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotten more too. I would say the once she's been with me, I think it's gotten stronger. Both my intuition's like off the hook now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a past life regression, and it's been like ever since then it's been
Really.
just like turned up to 11. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's interesting that you lean into this, and when a lot of people they don't. They feel like they're plagued by these things and they're tormented, and you're like, look, this is real, and I'm going to max out my abilities.
Well, it's so because I mean that house that I was telling you, like my dad still lives there with his new wife, or my stepmom for 20 years. There was a point where there was something there, and then it left. I mean, we had it blessed once, and the
Really?
room that me and my brother stayed in, the room that we did the Ouija board in, the priest don't know nothing. He's doing the blessing, and he stops at that room and goes, "Who sleeps in here?" I was like, "Oh, then like there's something wrong in this room. Like there's something wrong here." Like he called it out, and they didn't know nothing about it. Wow. I mean, my parents still don't know about all that, and he's blessing it. There was a time in my 20s, I was gone. My brother was just in that room. It was always cold in that room, colder than the rest of the house. And everyone partied and we drank, and I was like gonna sleep on the floor, and something like attacked. Like I couldn't get up. Like I was like I had to crawl out of the room. And the second I got past the threshold, I was like, what was in something like, yeah, something latched on me. It was like my energy was going away. There was something in that room because that's where we were playing with the freaking board. That's what it was. There'd be a little girl that was seen a couple of times, but I don't think that she was part of that. I think she was something different. And my stepmom finally said, "Honey, you gotta go. Like, I don't know what you're doing here, but like she wasn't bad." And once my stepmom told her that, she never was seen again. Yeah. But I don't think it was that. Like that wasn't the thing that was the big shadow thing that was walking around. I mean, my dad even had it happen. He was in the middle of the night asleep, and he saw it standing in his room. And he started praying, and it just left. He couldn't move. He started like paralysis, whatever.
Yeah, right.
A big dude. The dog was knocked out, and he's like, "What is going on?" I mean, everyone has seen different things of it, but it's been gone for like a while now, 5-10 years, I'd say.
Well, what finally drove it out? Was it the priest?
Now because I feel like that stuff is temporary to a degree. Because I believe that the owner of the house has to be the one to say to leave, because you're the one who has
the authority,
physical ownership of this place. And as weird as it sounds, I think when my dad and mom got divorced, it started to taper off, because I think it was eating all that chaos and hatred and all this. They had a really bad divorce. Yeah. So I think it was like eating all that. And then when she moved out, it kind of stayed around for a little bit. And then it was like, I'm not really getting the buffet anymore.
Right.
And I think it just dipped out.
Wow.
After a while. I mean, the priest probably helped, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if my dad ever told him to go or anything, but it hasn't been there in a while. I mean, that same little cousin, when he was an infant, my aunt went in that room and he was knocked out asleep in her arms, screaming, crying, wakes up. She brings him out of the room, falls back asleep. I mean, that was the portal. That was the portal. Yeah.
All right.
But it's been good. There's been nothing.
No, it ain't over yet. No. What obviously is something bad. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a no-brainer. What do you think it was? Like, do you think it's demonic? Do you think it's a just a dead person that was a jerk in a
No.
past life? What do you
Mm-mm.
think this was?
Mm-mm. So the little girl may have been that, I think, possibly was that. Um,
Was she?
but this thing was definitely not that. This thing was definitely a darker being. I mean, we like to use words demons and
Right,
whatever, the not the good side,
right, right.
the dark side, whatever that could be, whether it's a fallen angel or a demon or an alien bad entity. I don't know, a lower dimensional being. That's all I know. It is what it is.
Gotcha.
And the way that I've always felt was that they can that they want to eat, right? Like they're eating the energy of violence and chaos and hate and confusion and fear and all the nasty stuff. And if you're doing that kind of stuff or your house is consumed with that kind of stuff, it's going to come on home with you either from Walmart or from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a beacon, maybe they can smell it, I don't know, see it. And once they get in there, I mean, until someone kicks them out, and I don't know why sage works, but it does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's immediate. I even have a story with that with that same little baby who's now 18 or he's 16. Something happened with him when we did sage, and he had a physical reaction.
All right. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, yeah. So, I talk about this stuff all the time. My family, they talk about it, but
Yeah. I love that.
one like we do a lot of family parties and stuff, and I'm like, "Yo, you good?" Because he was like, I think he's 17 now, but he was like 15 or 16, and he was like, he was looking kind of like rough for like a while, and I was like, "Yo, you good, man, or what? Like, you seem different." He's quiet, and he's like, "Actually, can I talk to you?" I was like, "Sure." So we went into another room, and he's like, I've been seeing this thing for like 6 months. I wake up at night. It has red glowing eyes. It's got fucking horns. I saw it in the middle of the day, standing in my doorway. I mean, all kinds of shit. And I'm again, my intuition is in tune now. So I asked him like, "Did you go to any abandoned places lately?" And he's like, "Well, I was skate. He likes to skate. I was skating at an abandoned church."
Mm.
Check. You know what I mean? And I'm like, look, man, you gotta understand these things are out. They're everywhere. They're out in the world. They're out in the
Yeah.
stores. They see someone they can jump on their shoulders and they get on there, and then you start feeling worse and worse and worse, or you have bad stuff going on, and I think somehow they make it worse somehow.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
they can affect a little bit of like, and yeah, he said he was at his friend's house and the crucifix above the door flipped over. I mean, was seeing some shit. So I'm like, look, man. I told him what to do. I gave his mom sage, and I'm like, sage your son and sage your fucking house, because apparently they had shadow kids running around their house, grabbing them and
Oh,
stuff, like
no.
weird stuff. So I'm like, you need to sage yourself. You need to tell them to leave. They're not welcome, and you need to envision light just literally bathing your whole house, burning them away, because your house is like they're all over you. He goes home. His mom does the sage, the whole house, right? I don't know if you've ever done it, but you have
Oh,
to
yeah,
leave like
yeah.
the window. Yeah.
Yeah,
So he does it.
It sits right here in front of
There
me.
you go. There you go. So he does the whole bottom, gets to the top, goes in his room, and she's like, the smoke goes out. Like it's like something went like this.
Mm.
And she's like, what? So she lights it again, 5 times.
What?
She had to hold the freaking lighter on and just held it there. And then she goes to him, and he runs to the bathroom and vomits, like for
Right
like
out of
20
there.
minutes. Just blah, blah, blah. He wasn't sick,
Yeah.
and it was attached. I mean, it was on there. And the thing that sucks, sometimes they get back in somehow.
Yeah.
Which I think if you're drinking or doing drugs a lot, your defenses are down, and I think that's how they get on there.
Oh, yeah. Anything, man, that will lower your defenses if you don't stay prayed up, if you don't have anybody else praying for you, if you're traumatized, if you're emotionally
Absolutely.
low, they're all just like cracks in your armor, man.
And that's the thing, is like we just don't realize like how
Yeah.
many are out there.
Yeah.
And the way I always see it is like the people who are like a light bulb, right? Which there's some of those people. I'm sure we look like a full course steak dinner.
Oh, you know it.
And they're like, bro, if I can get this guy, if I can mess with him, if I can bring him down to our level, this will be not only a win for me because screw upstairs,
Right.
but it's going to be delicious. The problem is that when you know your strength, they're not going to fight you because they can't win and they know it and they hope you don't know it. But if you do know it, they're like, I can't fight this dude over and over. Like I'm going to go to the heroin addict who's easy
Exactly.
because they're already turned off.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Free lunch.
Yeah, free lunch because the guys that aren't they can't win
Yep.
if we know that. If you accept that you can't win, yeah.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Man, you've had a lifetime of stuff. I love it. I hate it for you, but the way you take things, you know, like your perspective on it, I don't think it's a negative thing for you.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not the only thing like throughout my 20s, and I was like, oh, I'm not scared of these things because I knew that once I realized like, hey, get out. Like this ain't the house.
Yeah.
Like there's other houses. Sucks for them. It's not get out. Once like that was rooted in here, the only fear that I had about any of that stuff was the alien stuff because it's physical, it's different. They fucking watch too much X-Files with the black eyes, aliens, and it's just terrifying. It's just terrifying to me, or it was. And then this was like 2 years ago. I had an experience where I think I was almost abducted.
Let's hear it, man. Tell me all about
And
this.
it was crazy. So I mean, I woke up in the middle of the night, and my room is full of blue light, like from the window.
Right.
Red flag, right there. And I'm like, oh shit. So I remember I looked over, and the whole room is lit up in blue. And I'm like, oh my God, this isn't happening. And literally, as I'm like trying to like, okay, this is about something's going on. It feels like I'm being pulled out of my body, out of the body. So either you could say astral projection or soul, whatever you want to feel. It feels like my soul is being pulled out. And my top half is out, and only my bottom legs are still in. And the light is what's pulling me out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm realizing like, oh, this is the thing that this is going to be one of these fucking experiences, and I'm not going through this. Like, so you're in this fear chaos because you feel like your damn soul is being pulled out of you. And I look back at my wife, and she's knocked out, and all I can think of is, do not let them take you from her. Grab her, hold her arm, something, and every ounce of my freaking being, I'm trying to pull, like, reach my arm and grab her. My arm's asleep, but my soul arm is out, and I'm trying to grab her, and I'm getting pulled, and I'm like, they're gonna get me. And I just, in that moment, I remembered reading a story or an article, whatever it was, about someone who was almost abducted, and they started praying. And when they started praying, it stopped.
Yeah.
It just pops in my head. So I already visualized light a lot anyway with just controlling the spiritual stuff. So I start freaking praying. I'm asking Jesus, God, Michael, the archangel, send all of them here now because this is not going to happen to me.
Right.
And the light, I keep envisioning, because I'm a writer, so I can visualize a lot. So I'm literally envisioning like the most badass version of Michael Archangel you could think
of. Man. Yeah.
The second I start doing that, the light turns off, and I'm back in my body, and I sit up in my bed.
See.
And I'm like, what the hell? Terrified, because I was like, that was like, this is going to be the thing that always I was scared of. Some kind of, we got you on the ship, we're poking you, who knows, all that crazy shit. So I can't sleep. I mean, who's going to go back to sleep, right? After something like that. I'm just kind of waiting for the day break, and I take a shower in the morning, and I got to tell my wife, like, you're not going to believe what the fuck happened to me. So I take a shower, and ever since I did my past life thing, I did that before this happened, I have a connection with my main spirit guide that I can actually like ask him stuff, and I'll get answers, right? Like it's weird, whatever you want to say, but so I'm like, dude, I need you to tell me like what the fuck has happened? Like what is going on? And the message that he told me was they weren't here for you. They were in the area. They saw light in the darkness and wanted to see what that was, which was your soul. And they came to see, oh, what's going on over here? Oh, let me just go ahead and just let's grab them out and check them out real quick. And the phrase that he told me after that, it was, this is why I'm not scared anymore. He goes, they were warned, you're off limits and your family is off limits. They will never mess with you again. And I was like, they were warned. What the hell does that mean?
You got a big mic.
What does that mean? They were warned and they won't mess with you again.
That was
And I was like,
man.
what the hell? They were warned. It's crazy. So it makes me think, you know, I wonder if a lot of the abduction stuff, is it physically abducting you or is it pulling out your astral body?
All right.
And you're still experiencing it.
Oh yeah, because it's still real.
But your physical body ain't moving. You could have just been like stuck like this or asleep, but they did all of this other stuff, and then they just put you back in, and that's why. I mean, I don't know, but that could be a reason of, or maybe it's both. Maybe there's both, and I'm not saying that all aliens are evil because there's probably good and bad, just like anything else. But I know that I have a feeling that some of this is that where they're pulling people out.
That would make sense, you know, because like I've had people on my show that have been abducted multiple times, and they talk about being pulled through a window, a shut window, you know, being floated over a river
or through the roof.
Yeah, or through the roof.
They're probably pulling your soul out.
Yeah,
or your astral soul out.
That would have to be a non-physical.
Could be.
It would have to be in that case.
And to me, it makes sense because if they're beings of a higher dimension or level, whatever you want to say, they're not physically in this reality. They pop in and out, or maybe it goes with it to me why we're seeing so many in society now, because so many people are waking up to all these things that have been going on behind the scenes, that we are, as a society, our consciousness is now raised up to now we're actually seeing these things way more than we were before.
That could be.
And I think that's part of it, is that they're just in this other, I don't know if it's next to us or above us. I don't know what you want to say it is.
Right.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that that's why we're seeing so many more. I mean, every time I open TikTok, there's like 4 new alien videos. I'm like, my God, man.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, I don't know if it's more about us raising our awareness or if it's them ready to present themselves.
I think it's both.
It could be both. Yeah.
The message that I kind of like landed on was that, I mean, it's so out. It sounds crazy, but
no, it don't.
To me, what my theory is so far is that they can't 100% exist in physical, right? Like, or at least not all the time. Maybe in little pieces, whether that's because of energy or the moon or whatever you want to, I don't know, for whatever reason. And I wonder if they made some deals with people who are human, right? And hey, do this and that and plunge this planet into fear and chaos and control, and we'll eventually be able to take it over like that. And you guys will be our rulers or whatever. And I have a feeling that all of that fell apart, because I think too many people woke up and too many people spoke their freedom and spoke their voice, and it blew apart whatever this plan was that was going on. And now I think the plan's still going, the bad one, but it's just not working anymore.
Let me ask you.
I think it's falling apart.
Oh yeah, I think there's a battle on right now.
Well, there's definitely a spiritual battle, but I have a feeling that there was that the negative ones lost.
Yeah.
And the humans who were supposed to work with them are just following the stupid plan they have, and it's not going to work because they don't have the backing anymore. I kind of think that's going on too.
It may be. It may be. You said maybe not all of them are bad, but I would like to hope not. But let me ask you, in your particular experience, why do you think prayer stopped them?
So for the ones that were going to mess with me, they were 100, obviously.
They were bad.
But I think there could be different races of them. I don't know. I mean, I've looked a lot into it, and you know, there's always they talk about the different races of different ones. You can find that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't, but there's also this side that we like to term, humans want to term everything, right? So
Right.
gods, or back in the day, right? Or aliens now, or prophets, or demons, or how do we know that we're not just using a bunch of different words for the same phenomenon?
I think that in a sense we are.
Yeah, I have a feeling that we just keep using all these different phrases and terms, but they are actually those things. There might be the same things. There might be two sides of them. I don't know.
I think there's multiple sides of.
Yeah.
I think just like when it comes to angels, or what they'd call angels, there are different orders and classes of
Mm-hmm.
celestial heavenly beings.
Mm-hmm.
Angel is its own class. Seraphim is a class.
Yep.
Cherubim is a class. Uh, you know, different orders. I think it's the same thing with the demonic realm.
Why not? Why wouldn't there be?
And I here lately, because I've had an evolution of thought over the years, especially doing this show for the last like two and a
Oh,
half years,
I bet.
of what aliens, quote unquote, are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's encounters like yours, man, where you use the name of Jesus and they say they have to stop for some reason.
It just they stop.
That sounds a lot like a demonic encounter.
And
So
to me, it sounds like if I didn't do that and just froze up, that would whatever was gonna happen was gonna happen.
right,
It now maybe I could have commanded them to stop. It may have worked. I don't know. But I was so in the fear spot that they had it wasn't like a ghost or a demon where I'm like, yo, get out of here, man. It was
right,
like, oh, it's because to me, in my mind, it was, oh, they're always physical beings.
yeah,
It doesn't, but I mean, now I don't think that anymore, but I always would think that. And I'm like, well, just like someone could break in your house, you can pray all you want. They're still going to do whatever the hell they want to do to you. I don't think that they play by those rules.
right,
I don't think they actually can play by those rules, I should say.
right. They're bound.
They're bound to not be able to do that.
Yeah,
But most people think about it, man. I mean, if we're under the impression these things are all physical and they have free will, which humanity does,
right,
doesn't mean everything does. But
right.
but if we all think that, oh, they're an alien. They can do whatever they want. They came from a planet from forever away, and obviously they could destroy us at any second and da da da. You're not going to like naturally pray
Exactly.
or command them like as you would if you had the knowledge of demons and stuff. You wouldn't do that. That's what I think. It's some of that's a trick.
And if you want to go down a rabbit hole, wouldn't it be
Absolutely.
interesting if the powers that be that are in cahoots with these things on whatever deal have created the perception of them being,
Mhm.
ET from another planet, so your prayers would do no good.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
that they
mean,
can
why do you think they're waging war on all kind of spirits or in religion? I mean,
exactly.
they're trying to destroy it because if you don't have a faith in that or at all in something bigger, then how are you going to stop an alien?
Yeah, it's even like how whitewashed the Christian church is. Go in there, go to a typical Baptist church and start talking about demons and angels and how it's a real spiritual war around you. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, the devil's out to get you," but they'll leave it at that. They don't want to go deeper into the reality of it. How
Because the dark truth is that the reality that we live in is nothing of what reality really is.
right?
And that there's magic and demons and
Yes.
fucking angels and everything else all happen at the same damn time.
Yep.
And some people are tapping into it and some people aren't. And the ones who are seemingly always seem to be the ones that are in control of all the wealth and all the power. It's funny how that keeps happening.
Yeah, ain't that
But
something?
yet there's nothing there. But
Yep.
yet it keeps happening.
Yep. Everything's real,
Okay.
man. Everything's
It's all which to me actually gives me a better sense of I like that because
real.
it makes reality way more interesting than just the bland version that they want everyone to think is there.
Right. And there's a comfort in everything being real. You don't have to worry about, what to believe, this or that. It's all real. And
Yeah.
you're on the good side. You know what to do to keep
Mhm.
yourself prayed up, to keep your family protected.
Hmm.
Now there's a better understanding, and here comes peace.
And that's It's funny because after this experience, I was like, okay, I'm not scared of that anymore.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know. I mean, whatever the ones were, that they were bad for sure, but I don't know if there's other ones that aren't, or I don't know if they're all the same classification. I don't know. Like, we don't know. And the part that's terrible about all that is humans in the past probably knew because they had more knowledge, and everything got hidden and everything got deleted and everything got destroyed. And it's like we're figuring out stuff that they probably already knew.
Yes, absolutely we are.
And now we're like playing catch up, but now we have these things.
Yep. Where'd that come from?
I mean, it doesn't even make sense, honestly. That device. I mean, I remember before all of that, and it was a way different situation.
Yeah, like perfect example with computers and technology, the way it's exploded. You were born in 85, I was born in 80, so it's very similar in age. My dad, he bought this Tandy computer, right, when I was about 12 years old. And he said, this computer has 1 gigabyte of memory. You will never in your lifetime be able to use up 1 gigabyte. I got a 128 gig flash drive. Right
well, that's a small one.
You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, man.
I know. I'm up to like the terabytes now.
Yeah, that's what my phone is. My phone's a terabyte.
It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. It's
ridiculous. But yet, I don't want to even go into the whole. We can't go back to the moon though. But okay.
What do you mean back?
Yeah, back.
Yeah,
back to the moon. The whole thing. It's a show, but yeah, I think that I think this life that I've had of all this stuff, it's just it's weird. I have like I don't ever have revelations of things. Like when I put together 2 different ideas and it makes sense, or even when I did the past life thing, I wasn't like mind blown. Like it's always every time. Oh, I feel like I'm remembering this, that I knew this already. Every time, no matter what it is, whether it's the elites controlling the world or magic is real or demons and it's always the same thing as, oh, okay, I knew that already.
Yeah.
It's like remembering.
Yep. Fantastic.
I never get that like reality shattering, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's always like, oh, I knew that. I had a feeling.
You're blessed because I've had my world rocked a few times. Like, wait a minute. It's like it'll hit me. Like it is like a revelation for me. I'm like, oh wait.
It just logically it is because I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But then deep down, if I'm really like thinking about it, I'm like, I feel like I knew that, or I feel like, or maybe it just resonates. But I've never had. It feels like remembering. That's the best way for me to phrase it. I'm like, oh, okay, I know now. Which is annoying because I'd rather just know now than not 5 years from now. Just tell me all of it now. If I knew all this other stuff from other stuff, give it up. Come on.
Yeah. Let me get caught up to my past.
Because it's not playing catch up. I feel like I'm still playing catch up.
Well, let me ask you if you don't mind sharing, because I know some things are a little personal, man. This past life regression.
Oh,
I'm very interested in that.
So what I will say, I talk about it. I've done it on a thing before. That was the craziest experience. It's so you never done it, right?
No, I haven't done it.
So when you do it, you're conscious. You're not like hypnotized and not knowing what's going on. Like you are aware of your surroundings. Like I did it in my living room, and the memories that you're having they're happening. Like you don't have the emotion attached to what is going on, but like you're watching it happen, and then eventually you're the person in the memory. And really I ended up just wanting to do it in 2020, actually. Funny enough, when everything didn't make any damn sense anymore.
Yep.
And I was like, this whole damn world's a clown world. Like, what is going on?
Yep.
And I was like, I'm gonna do this. So I went to this lady, or emailed this lady that my mom did it for my mom, and we did it on Zoom, which I was like, this is gonna work on Zoom? Like, how's this work? And it worked. It worked great.
Nice.
But she's super nice lady, and you lay down on the couch, you get comfortable. She kind of guides you into it. And as you're doing it, you're in the beginning, it's like she's like, you're walking on a path. What does it look like? And I'm like, oh, it's dirt. There's sand. There's this. Okay, what is there any trees? Oh, there's that. You're like kind of like it's weird because you're like, am I just making this up? It feels like at first like, am I just making this up? But then it starts getting real specific. And you're like, to make this up, you'd actually have to like really like think about this, and you're kind of like in this autopilot mode right now.
Yeah.
Like your consciousness is there, but it's not in control.
Right.
And she's like, keep walking. You're gonna see your spirit guide, the one that's gonna help you through this, and tell me what he looks like when you get up the road a little bit. So I come up on the road, and there's a tall guy with a white hood and a white cloak, and he looks kind of Egyptian with like a goatee. And I'm like, oh hey, and he says hi. And she's like, you can ask his name, and I ask his name, and he gives me his name. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'm gonna help you through. So you keep walking for me. I keep walking, and she's like, you're gonna see 3 doors, and when you see them, tell me what they look like. So like I see 3 doors, and she just says what they look like. She didn't give me a prompt of what it is. And I see like a white marble door. It's beautiful, like stunning. Next to that one is a gold door, all gold, etchings in it, all kinds of stuff. And on the right is like a wooden door. It looks like it was someone put out a fire, like it's black and smoldering, and looks just like it was a fire. And she's like, well, what do you need? What do you need to go in? And I'm like, I want to go in that white door or the gold door, but I think I need to go in this crappy looking bird.
Yeah, man.
And she's like, just go in the door. So we go in the door, and I'm in like a bamboo forest, but there's like a village, like huts and different things, and they're on fire. And I'm explaining, like, to me, I'm like watching like a movie. Like it's like I'm watching it, me watching that, right? And I'm like, and I'm explaining, there's these huts, there's bamboo everywhere. I hear metal hitting each other, like I don't know if they're weapons or something. And she's like, I go towards that noise. So I walk into the brush a little bit, and I find a clearing. And then there's a guy with a sword, like a samurai type looking guy. And across from him is another guy, and he has a woman in front of him that he's like threatening. And then there's a dead kid on the ground, which is terrible. And she's like, well, what's going on? So I'm explaining it, and I'm like, well, there's this guy and there's this. She's like, well, what's happening? And what's happening is that this other warrior with the woman is strong, like super strong. And the warrior, apparently that's me, knows that if I try to fight this dude one-on-one, he's gonna kill me. He's a better fighter than me, he's stronger than me. I've spent my whole life mastering the sword, and I'm gonna lose. And all of this means nothing if I lose to this dude.
Wow.
So, and as I'm telling the story, I'm saying this guy. Well, eventually it becomes I.
Yeah.
Because it's me, is what it is. And pretty much the idea, unfortunately, my bad self, is like, let him kill your wife. That was my wife and kid. Let him kill her, and when he kills her, you can kill him. And I let it happen and kill him. And after he's dead, I had the realization, I just let my wife die so I could win.
Right.
So that my way of the sword and my job of being a samurai and all the hours I've spent is not meaningless. So I let my family die just to prove that I didn't waste my time. So she's like, what's the next? Because you always jump, like, what's the next event that's memorable? So the next event was, after that realization, I went after the guy who sent these dudes, and we fought, and I killed him and he killed me, and I was laying dying on the ground with a sword in my belly. And the realization was, well, at least I got him, and I honorably got rid of the guy who did all this. And then right before I blacked out, it was, you just wasted your whole life. You literally let your family die just to honorably kill this guy. Like, you let them kill your wife. You didn't even try.
Wow.
So then you come out of it, and I'm like, what the fuck? She's like, well, what is this teaching me? And it's teaching me, like, and it's relevant to my normal life now, because I never believe like overworking, right? Like I will not do it. Like, my father was finance, he's a finance manager, car business, 9 to 9 every day, dude. Great provider, great dad, but damn exhausted on Sunday. You don't get much time.
Right.
Pulls up late to baseball practice. He still went, but you know.
Yeah, man.
And I always grew up like, I'm not gonna work like that. I don't believe in overworking to the point of you're missing your family stuff. Like it's not what I believe in. I worked in a call center job, sales. I ended up being the number one person there, only 40 hours a week. Everyone else was doing 60 hours. I still beat everything. I was like, I'm not gonna do this. So it's super relevant because
Oh yeah.
I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
So in this life, I pretty much believe this work has to mean is more important than my wife, my kid, anything. Because if I lose to this dude, I wasted my life.
Yeah.
And I'd rather him kill her than me admit that I'm A, weaker, and B, I wasted my life, which is terrible.
But lesson learned, right?
But it's a good lesson. So I'm back at the doors and I'm like, oh shit, that's like A, relevant.
Right.
And B, just like you feel it. Like you don't feel like you kind of feel the emotions, but you just like, man, like man, that's crazy. Like, so she's like, do you need to do another one? And I was like, yeah. And there's the gold door. And I'm like, I gotta go to the gold one. She's like, well, normally we don't do 2 in one session, but if you feel like you need to do it, let's do it. And I'm like, I gotta do it. So I go through that one and I'm getting whipped, hit, like beat. And I'm in Egypt and I'm building a statue and I'm chiseling this damn statue. And this asshole's hitting me with a whip saying, hurry up, hurry up. And I'm just like doing it. Go home. I have a kid there, a boy and a wife. Super happy, super loving. I'm literally a slave in the day and getting beat. But at night, I'm happy. I have the family. That's what I want.
Yeah.
So I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So then the next event, the wife is giving birth and she dies in childbirth. And I get left with a daughter and I already had the boy. And it's just me and them. So then it skips. What's the next? So then the next event is I'm like a grandfather now. I own all this land, a big ass house. I'm the architect of the city, very wealthy. The kids have grown up. They have kids. There's grandkids running around. I'm on the riverbank and I literally built from nothing a life of wealth and happiness and everything. Manifested this whole thing by hard work, by whatever. So then the next event was you're on your deathbed. I'm on my deathbed and everyone's there. The kids, the grandkids, the great grandkids. The only thing missing is the wife.
Right.
So my wife's soul comes and says, come on with me. It's time to go to the next, after this. And next time I promise that we'll live a whole life. This won't happen again. So then I come out of that one and she's like, what is, and I'm like, I literally went from nothing to almost everything.
Right.
Almost close. Didn't
Right.
have that because she died, but I built from, and I believe in you can create your own life and everything. So again, resonates because this guy went from nothing to literally wealth, family, everything you could ever want besides the wife passing away. And he did it himself. He built this, he crafted this, he literally was an architect, he literally built his life.
Right.
So then she's like, well, in these memories, who were these people? And the wife in both is my current one. She's my second wife. I got divorced before.
Right.
So it was her both times. And which is funny because when we first got together, I was like, I feel like I know this woman.
Yep.
Like I felt all that. I've never felt that, but I felt all that stuff. So it's relevant. The kids in the memories in the samurai one was my daughter, my current daughter that I have. And then in the second one with the boy and the daughter was my daughter again. And my first marriage, I raised her son from 9 years old. He calls me dad. He actually looks like me, which is super weird because we're not biologically related at all.
Right.
It was him. And then in the third life, where it was the kids and the grandkids were my current stepsons with my current wife.
Wow.
And then it was my daughter and then my other son. Yeah. So they're all in it. Like
Yeah.
it's all relevant. And so when I came out of all this, I'm like, this is so relevant to me as a person, to what I believe in, to my everything about me is literally this lines up perfectly. And she asked me, "Do you want to go through the white door?" And I'm like, "I really do, but I'm not ready." I knew I was, "I'm not ready." And she goes, "Well, your guide will go with you when you're ready." I'm like, "Cool." I still haven't gone through it yet, but
Really?
I know it's a Greek situation or something going on with Greece behind that door.
Yeah.
I just haven't felt like it's time yet. I'm sure I'm gonna do it again soon,
Yeah.
but 100% it's a Greek thing.
Really?
No doubt in my mind. I don't know what. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Man,
And ever since then, my intuition has been super strong.
right.
Um, I can ask by his name, and he will. I can hear him, and I don't know how that sounds so fucking crazy. I can communicate with him when I want to.
Right.
And I ask for guidance. He can talk. He talks to me whenever I need it, whenever I want to, and it's pretty damn cool, man.
It is cool.
But ever since then, it's been like it it's oh, okay. Actually, I forgot the most important part. So right before it ends, right before I come out, she's like, he's gonna give you something that's gonna help you remember everything you learned, and he pulls out a giant, like a big ink quill pen, which is actually this tattoo I have.
Nice.
And he goes, "This is for you." And I grab it. And he goes, "Your warrior fighting is not with this anymore. It's with this and talking. And your writing is what you need to fight with. That is what's going to wake people up. Put the sword away. You don't need it anymore.
Right.
Pick up the pen. This is how you're going to change things. You don't need to fight physically anymore." So I was like, super relevant, right? I
Right.
just finished writing my first novel during that, right before, so it was really relevant.
I love it. Yeah.
And then he goes and he gives me two more things. The next thing is a golden coin with an eye, like the all-seeing eye on it.
Yeah.
And he goes, "This is so you see through the bullshit of reality. You will never be taken advantage of or lied to and believe anything like that again. You'll see through any of that, whether it's people or systems or whatever, all this stuff. So this is so you never get tricked again." And then the last thing was a wooden sigil of a tree, almost like the tree of life with a circle. And he's like, "This represents your written word is going to go out into the world like roots, and it's going to spring in people and get them to start waking up and spark things in them, spark creativity, and it's going to go out and do that. And this is so you don't forget, don't ever stop writing."
Wow.
And of course, my writing has exploded since all of this.
Yeah.
Of course. But yeah, it was insane. So I got this already tattooed, but I have to get I'm gonna get some kind of pyramid with the eye on it. I already know what I want to do. I think the eye of Horus actually,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna get the tree somehow.
Yeah.
But it's my path is that, you know. Of course, I'm not doing it full time. You know, got to work other job right now, but
Right.
it's gotten more popular. I mean, my web comics have gotten more popular. I got 6 million reads on one. I mean, that's pretty
What?
crazy. Yeah, almost 100,000 subscribers on that one, and then the other one, yeah, the other one's really interesting because when I first started writing when I was like 20, it was just I bet my sister, I bet I could write. She's like, "No, you can't," whatever. Wrote a whole story, found an artist, they quit halfway through it. Like for years, my first project has never really 100% been made.
Yeah.
And I found this studio contacted me, "Hey, we want to work with you. Do you have a story to pitch?" I pitched my original one, although updated because I'm a better writer 15 years later. And they latched onto it, paid for an art team. It's called The Fallen. It's about fallen angels
Oh yeah.
coming to Earth,
Let's go.
mating with women, making Nephilim. One of the sons fights against his father. I mean, it's the whole damn thing.
Yes.
I love it. It's amazing.
That's
The art.
your alien encounter, man.
Yeah.
That's our Nephilim.
I know, right?
Today's Nephilim. This is the
Yeah.
next Noah.
And I put in that story a lot of winks and a lot of things that that I know, and it's popular. I mean, I hope it gets bigger, of course, but it's amazing. It's a great story. It's my original story I ever wanted to tell. There ain't nothing like it out there.
Tell me how to get to it.
So all you gotta do is go to voice.me, and it's VOYCE. And if they're up and coming web comic platform, they have some really good stuff. It's called The Fallen. You'll see it. It's on their main page.
Yeah.
And it comes out weekly. And it's amazing because the art is what I've always wanted my stories to have, is that kind of art.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I put a lot of things in there that, a little sprinkle of hopefully seeds that may make people think a little bit more, a little deeper on things.
And you wrote a novel too.
Yeah, so do I have? Oh, I do have it. I got it right here. So I tried to get it published through a thing, but that was a crapshoot. So I just did regular Amazon publishing. But
Yes.
it's Incarnate is what it's called. I don't know if it's flipped or not, but
Oh, it's good.
yeah, Incarnate Rise of the Remnant. This is the hardcover. You can order it like that on Amazon. It's sci-fi fantasy mixed with some ancient. How do I want to say it? I don't want to give this. I don't want to spoil it. Mixed with some ancient belief systems, I guess I'll use. Yeah, it's my take. Like, imagine Walking Dead, but with AI robots, not zombies. Just
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was my 2020 project. I was like, I'm gonna write a freaking novel. I've never done it. I always write script writing is different than novels, way different. And that was, I did that because I was like, I want to see if I can do hard. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I'm about 80%, well, maybe 80% done with the book. I tried to start in 2020. I tried to do a podcast and a book.
That's too much. It's too much.
Too
Can't do that.
So it's just sitting there. It's been sitting there for 2 full years now, just idle. But man,
yeah, I was really like, oh, I'm gonna get a book deal. It can happen, I guess. But yeah, I wrote it, and I have 2 more that I want to write in that series. But I was like, I'm not gonna put the effort. It's so much effort, dude.
Yeah.
To write that thing.
Do it.
I know, but I have other stuff. Then there's
Right.
another book. I'm like 20,000 words.
The webcomic.
Yeah, the webcomics are amazing.
Hey,
They're really fun.
If you have links, shoot me links, and I'll put them on the show notes. And if not, then I'll just go through and I'll find links to it.
No, I got you. I'll send it to you.
Sweet, man, because I want people to see this. Jordan, I've absolutely loved talking to you. It's like I feel like there's stories because you just nonchalantly just glaze over some things that make whole episodes. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, it's just it's so weird to me. I don't know. I used to be so scared of the ghost stuff, and now it's not. I mean, in this house we're in now, about 6 months ago, we came downstairs, and I swear there were scratch marks on the wall, and I was like, "What is this?" It looked like. Actually, I'll tell you, this is actually pretty cool. So it looked like something was holding the side of the door frame,
right.
and then pulled. What we found out is that my wife's best friend, who was her maid of honor in our wedding, she's like super psychic and everything else. She came for our wedding. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary yesterday, so like a year ago.
Anniversary.
Yeah, thank you. So we pick her up from the airport, right? And she comes in the door, and she goes, "Who's the old man spirit that someone has seen in this house?" And we're like, what happened a month before that was our son woke up middle of the night and in the hallway saw a man, a human, not a shadow, like a person, walking to his door, turned and went down the stairs. And when that happened, I came upstairs because I just got home right after, and I'm like, "Joshua, you're right, man." He's like, "I saw someone in the hallway." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "He was a tall old man. It looked like my mom's grandpa." And I'm like, "All right, we'll go back to bed, man. Don't worry about it." Right? And he's like, "Okay." So he goes to bed. Well, we didn't tell her this. So when she walks in her house and starts saying that, we're like, "Tell us more." Like, what else do you know?
All right.
And she goes, "Well, we tell her the story, obviously, now." And she goes, "Oh, it makes sense. Yeah, he's here to protect your family because right before y'all's wedding, it was like 2 days later, there's a lot of bad energy getting thrown at you guys from the people. And he's here to make sure everything goes without a hitch." Number one. Number two, our son Joshua, he's very intuitive. He doesn't realize it, and he's going to start seeing stuff. And he wanted him to at least see him first.
Yeah.
Before he sees other things. So he made himself look as a human as he normally did. Yeah. Joshua saw him when he was 1. He doesn't even know him.
All right.
And we showed a picture, and he goes, "That's the guy."
Wow.
Yeah.
How old is the boy now?
Oh, he's 15. This happened like 2 years ago, so he's like 13. But yeah, so she goes, "He's here to protect your family. He's here." He wanted Joshua to see him because he's gonna see stuff, and he didn't want him to see something really scary as his first thing.
Right.
And she goes, "Yeah, he's gonna watch out for you guys." Now, my theory on what was that scratch thing on the wall, She also told us, which is you'll find this interesting, that when I was a kid and I saw the UFO and maybe the man bat thing and some of the weird stuff, this neighborhood that I'm in right now in this house is the same neighborhood I grew up in. My old house is 5 houses down from this house.
What?
It's literally right down the street.
What?
Not only that, it's the same model house. So when I walked into this one, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting all these memories from when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Not the same house, but literally it's spot. The lake is right down the road. That big lake with the freaking meteorite in it
Yeah.
is 5 houses down from here.
Better start swimming.
So our friend said, she goes, well, this neighborhood, there's a portal in this neighborhood and weird stuff happens. And then she goes, there's actually an old lady that died back in the day that haunts this neighborhood and she looks really scary. She was run over by a horse and buggy. Our neighbor, 6 months before our friend came, said that there's a fucking old lady ghost in this neighborhood.
What?
100%.
I
And
love
we're
it.
like, and she goes, your granddad told her, don't come in this house. This is off limits. Don't ever come in here. Go out there, whatever. This is not where you're going to be. And I have a feeling that she got in one day and
Yeah.
he dragged her ass out. And that's why there's this fucking scratch in the wall.
Man. Hey,
Isn't
look,
that
get
crazy?
get that woman to holler at me, man. I want to get the psychic out here too.
Isn't that crazy? But yeah, she didn't know any of that stuff. And we don't, why would we tell her? But yeah, our old lady neighbor was like, there's this woman that haunts. She told us. I was like, whatever, Back then I was like, okay, she told my wife. But yeah, she came in and said, there's an old lady. She wouldn't know that. She lives in Florida. We're in Virginia. How would you know any of that? She don't know any of
Wow. I
that.
love
Yeah. So I think old man grandpa whipped her ass. I don't know what happened.
it.
He dragged her out. But yeah, but there's a scratch and we're like, what is this? And it's high. It's not like the dog. We have a little dog anyway, but it's like at the top of the door. It looks like
Yeah.
he was holding on and he
Like,
said,
come
get
on,
out.
man. Yeah. I
I
love
was like, hey man.
I love
Crazy.
Man. Look, please send me those links. Let me
I
get
gotcha.
let me get that put on the show notes here. I got about half of mine for you to send me drop a pin on Google Earth or something so I can see where that lake is. Because if you won't go out there, I want to go out.
It's literally right there. It's right down the road. I drive by it every day.
Please go just go like drag a fishing line.
Oh, my buddy's like, yeah, my buddy's pond. I know. I gotta text him about that.
Yeah. Yeah, holler at it, man. Let me know what happens.
I'm like, yo, can you like figure this out? Because if that's a meteorite, we're gonna get paid.
Yeah, yeah, you'll be doing good. But
And if it's not there,
worms. What were those?
Dude, it was sharp. That's what was weird.
That is weird.
It was like diamond shaped, like that kind of flat top, and it was sharp. They had to have gloves to pick it up, and it was heavy.
What?
It was so weird.
That's
I think about it all the time. I really am like, was like, what was that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Dig that up.
I know. I gotta fish it out.
Well, look,
One day.
I'll let you off here now because I could try to go back to past stories you've been telling me and get you to expand on every single one of them. But if you
if you wanna ask a few more questions, man, I don't have nowhere to be. It's only 7 o'clock. If you want to add, please ask. I love expanding on it more, and maybe you'll connect something that I didn't notice.
Well,
I mean, it was so long ago.
just a couple of things that jump straight out, man. It was like, one, you're talking about this all kicked off with a UFO experience
I think so.
around the age of 13, and
12,
now
13, something like that.
it's your stepson, right?
Yeah,
At 13, he started experiencing.
something.
It's like
That was
at that age, man. It's like
there's something in that
that's
age.
the age, that stuff always seems to happen. And with that little girl spirit, you're like, oh, she wasn't anything bad. How do we know that wasn't something presenting itself as a little girl to drop your defenses?
It could be. I never saw her. Well, actually, oh man, you reminded me of something. So the little girl, I never saw the little girl. My dad saw her, my stepmom saw her, and actually my best friend, his little brother, we were playing Twisted Metal, I remember, back on PlayStation. And me and my friend were upstairs looking at cheat codes on the computer, and he was downstairs with my little brother playing on the big old square TV, like a big ass thing. And the load screens go black, right? So, and back then the load screens were like 2 minutes long. So we're typing on the computer, looking at codes, whatever, dude. And we hear a scream, from one of them, and they went from downstairs in the living room up the stairs to where the computer was in 2 seconds. We turn around, we're like, "What's going on?" And they can't talk. They're like, "Woo, woo." I'm like, "What's going on?" When it popped up the load screen in the black, the little girl was standing behind them.
No, that's nightmare. That's
It's nightmare fuel, man.
Ugh.
Now I did have I do have a little sister that was small at that age, but she wasn't there that night.
Right.
I had two sisters; they weren't there, so it wasn't them. So I will never. They were so scared. So they did see it. So that I never saw that one. So
Right.
maybe it was. I don't know. I mean, all I know is that at some point it left for some reason. I was remember I was in the hospital with my dad, and he says to my sister, "Why is she out of bed?" Because they look similar.
Right.
And we go inside, and she's just fast asleep. She wasn't awake.
Mm.
So it's weird stuff. But yeah, I haven't seen. No one's seen that thing in a long time.
Man.
It could have been. You're right. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe it was something bad.
Some spooky stuff, man. That's
Yeah.
spooky stuff. Hey, if you would do me the honor, I'd like to have you back on again sometime.
Absolutely, man. I love talking about this stuff. I
Sure.
realize now that the more people that talk about this stuff, A, it's going to help us link things together
Yes.
as far as what could it be. But B, I don't know everyone, but I would say everyone has either experienced something that they can't explain or has a friend or family who has.
Yeah.
And until as society we start talking about this stuff honestly and openly without judgment and, oh, you're crazy, we're never going to figure out what is going on.
Yeah.
Or what is the real reality that's there that we don't want to admit. I think I already know it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people need to realize, like, this ain't all figured out, man. Just because we can't see it with this doesn't mean it's there. Not there.
Exactly.
I mean, we can only see how much light with this.
Exactly.
They're probably they're literally probably all around us all the time.
There is a
all
spiritual war all the time.
I think it's constant. And I think that there's, as evil as it sounds, certain people who kick off certain events to create mass energy release, sadness, fear, whatever.
Yes.
And these things just eat it like a freaking Thanksgiving meal.
Yep.
And I think that there was some kind of deal made along the way somewhere.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
I think on that note, I think that TV like networks like Netflix, I think they do some dark dealing, man.
Like I'll tell you, when I write, right? I'm gonna write my next chapter, right? I put on some certain kind of music I like to listen to, and I go to write. I do not get writer's block. I'm not trying to brag about that, but what I'm trying to say is when I go to write, I tune in to something to write. And I'm not just the one that's making up everything.
Right.
There's some kind of free flow, whether I'm pulling from God or whatever it is, it's 100% true. And I know that when people get ideas to do stuff, create something or invent something, and they don't do it because of fear, or they don't know how to figure it out, or they don't want to put in the time, someone else will get that same idea and they will do it at some point soon, within usually a year.
Yep.
Because the way I see it is there's certain things out there, and our brain or our soul taps into it, like an antenna, and grabs it. And if you grab it and don't do anything with it, there's some kind of time limit on it where someone else gets it. Because for some reason, whatever this thing is has to be made.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be made.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that there's, that what they call it, an open hand of blessings or whatever.
It's like a net. It's like a network. It's like a network, actually.
It comes out.
We're all plugged in. But when I go to write, here I go. If I'm gonna do it tonight, I'm gonna put on the music. Sometimes I don't even need the music. I like the music, but I'll put it on, and I'm writing. Like, I'm not 100% the person doing it. There's something coming through, whether that's ideas or God or whatever you want to say, or the universe. It's something that's happening. It's like channeling the story.
It's okay to call it God.
That's what it is.
And if it's an anointing, if it's a gift, then plant those seeds for that tree, man, to bear good fruit.
I mean, it literally says we're made in his image. So the point that they're trying to say is we are God ourselves here living physically, but we can create whatever we want. Unfortunately, a lot of people do bad stuff with that, but You literally can. You're literally God right now, experiencing this stupid world. Create something, do something. Do something. Whatever lights your soul on fire, do it.
Do
Because
it.
it's not working at a stupid job for 40 hours, 80 hours. That's not the point. The point was not supposed to be that.
No, it was not.
And we all got trapped in that stupid rat race of that. And there is ways out of it. I feel. But there is something that we're, me, I know what I'm going to write stories. And in my stories, I'm going to put things that I feel that I know or little seeds and whatever I want. And they will go out and do stuff. They will either make someone think something a different way or feel the emotions of the character in the story, whatever ends up being. That's the point of what I'm supposed to be doing.
There you go.
Now I just need to make full-time money from it, and I can't.
Yeah, that's what we're all trying to catch is that train,
that whole. I know at some point it will happen, but I know that all these experiences that I've been through have absolutely opened my creativity to be able to write stuff.
Yeah, it's all preparing you for what lies ahead, man.
Exactly.
I use the story with my students, which I tread a thin line. Something. I use the story of David. I'm sorry, of David and Goliath. Goliath's the main event.
Yeah.
But before he met Goliath, David, this young shepherd, he was entrusted with these sheep. But before he fought Goliath, he had to face off with a bear. He had to face off with a lion. And then he meets Goliath.
Who, by the way, was probably a Nephilim.
Yeah. He was definitely a Nephilim.
Mm-hmm.
But the bear and the lion, as scary as that had to be, that took that fear away from him. It prepared him for what he's going to have to face eventually. To where when he saw Goliath, he said,
there's this thing that shouldn't be here, needs to be wiped out. And hey, buddy, I needed to get you to the spot where you're not scared, right? Not scared of it.
Exactly. So when it's time for see Goliath, he's like, he's got nothing for me, man.
And a lot of this stuff, like either ghost, demon, or alien, whatever, the feeling that you get from it, to me, you need to remember that.
Yes.
Because if it's of the light, it's not going to feel scary. I mean, it will feel scary because it's unknown, probably a little bit, but it won't feel against your will. Whatever they wanted to do, I didn't say they could do that to me.
Right.
They were going to do it because I didn't know that I could stop them or ask for help or whatever.
Yeah.
They were going to do it. It was going to. It was 100% going to happen. If I didn't ask, maybe if I had not the fear mindset, I could have broke it myself, maybe. But if I didn't ask for help, the other side couldn't help me.
Right.
And that's the part that people need to think about and remember, because you have to ask. If you don't ask, they won't do it. The other side will do it because they don't give a shit about that. The bad side they ain't gonna ask you. They're just gonna do it.
Well, they have
the good side, they're allowed to do it. Yeah. They're gonna do it until you tell them no or until you ask for help. If you ask for help, then you're fine. But people don't ask for help. They don't ask for guidance because they want to think they have everything figured out. That's not the point. You can't have everything figured out. No. You don't even know what reality is. How could you have everything figured out?
Exactly.
You think that the world is whatever it is. It's not even that at all.
Right.
So how could you have anything figured out?
Exactly.
Right. So, and you've been lied to, and for generations, and indoctrination, and history being hidden from you. You don't know shit.
Yep.
So why do you think you know this? You don't. No one does. That's the thing. But if you ask for help, they are allowed to do it. And I think there is a rule or a law or something that's built into this creation of this reality that's there. Our free will, for good or bad, is there. It can't be crossed on, at least by the good side. By the bad side, I'm sure they love to step on it, but they need you to think that you're not stronger than them.
Yeah. And by whatever sins we commit or our parents committed or however it works, something gives them authority to torment us until we get away from that. Until we can break that stronghold. And if it's by praying, if it's by
I don't think it's just praying. I think it's I don't know. I mean, I really believe if in the moment I wasn't scared shitless, and that's why I was praying. I was like, you better help me because I can't. I don't know what the hell's going on. Now, I don't think it ever will because they've, quote, been warned, whatever that means.
Right.
If it happened again, I would probably try myself first just to see. Because now I want to, not that I want to, but I would try. And then I was like, oh, it doesn't work. All right, I'm praying, whatever. But like, I think, I think that the whole game works on knowledge that was hidden away from us, so we don't understand, and then the fear part, because if you're so scared because this thing is, I mean, it's abnormal. Even
Right.
seeing a ghost or a shadow person,
Right.
you wake up, you're asleep, you wake up and you see something standing there. It's fucking scary.
It
You
is.
could, I don't care how old you are.
Right.
It's scary.
Because it ain't supposed to be there.
It's not supposed to be there. There's nothing supposed to be standing in your door, but there's a big thing standing in your door, or even a little kid.
Yeah.
My kids are, that's not my kid, whatever. Like, it's scary. It's scary. But the whole point is, like, we are so scared because we don't have the knowledge. Because most of the people who grew up and saw stuff never told anybody.
Right.
Because they didn't want to be looked down on, or their parents say, "Oh, you're just a stupid kid," or "You just imagined it." Like, I'm grateful that my family didn't do that,
Right.
because then you wouldn't tell anybody. Like, there's so many people who have experiences. Like, if I talk about it, someone's like, "Oh, it's literally everybody, dude. Everyone has something."
Oh, everybody's got a story.
Yeah,
That's like, and
in
you
this
talking
world,
about yours, it helps somebody else come out. Like, I get emails every week. Oh, I'm so glad so and so was on the show. Yeah, here's what's going on with me. Like, do you want to talk about it? And it'll be yes or no. Like, they're not ready to talk about it, but they want to let me know.
because they just want someone to hear them.
Yeah,
They just want
that's what
someone to be like, I'm not saying that did or didn't happen to you. And maybe there are people, I mean, I have a whole bunch of ideas about, schizophrenia and different things like that. But regardless, I'm not gonna say that you're lying. Like, if it happened to you, you experienced, like, I'm talking about my past life thing. Someone could be like, "Oh, you just made all that up." Well, I know my mind. I'm a
right,
writer. I know I know I can make up things.
right,
I'm gifted at that. But I know in the moment that's not what was going on. I can't convince someone of that.
right.
It doesn't matter. Does it
Yeah,
really matter?
it don't matter if they believe
It
you or
doesn't. Well, it doesn't even matter because it was relevant to me. It's only supposed to be relevant to me.
Right,
It's not supposed to be relevant to other people. It was my life that I lived.
right.
So what does it matter?
That's it. I love
But
it.
I know. I mean, I've said it since a kid. I've told everyone, and I said, I'm not doing Earth again. I'm done. I've always said that. This is the last go around. I'm sick of this planet. I don't care what's next. Whatever. I'm done. This is the last one. I've literally said it my whole life, which everyone's like,
My
that's
wife
a
tells me
weird.
all the time. Yeah, this is my last time.
This is the
You're
last
right.
time. Like, I'm not doing this again. Like, this place is insane.
I think that whether we like it or not, it might be our last time, man.
Well, it probably is. Send me somewhere else, man. There's another planet out there.
This might be it. This
This
might be
this
it.
this planet's just. I think it's hitting the crescendo of everything, and I think it will be different. I do. But when I in 2020, oh man, rabbit holes, and I'm just like everything. I mean, I've always had certain ideas, but really figured a lot of stuff out.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm sure you've gone through. People who have gone through awakening are like, there's a dark time in there
Oh yeah.
of like everything is like, it's a lie to you. Like everything you thought as how things worked is not true.
That I got that reality check when I was still in the Air Force. It was like my last year. It was around the end of 2008.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I had a few people red pill me, for lack of better words, man.
No, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's a red pill.
Wow, okay. And I did not want to believe it. There was a lot of things that I found out and learned about, and it's just like then I just plunged into it all.
And I'll tell you, it's so cliche to talk about it now, but the Matrix thing is correct. Once you actually see some stuff like this and you see the truth, you can't go back to not seeing it.
No,
in fact, you see it even more.
Yep.
In shows, in movies. You're like, my God, what? It's like everywhere.
Yeah, that's what. Like we sit here to watch movies. It's Halloween season. So they want to watch scary movies.
Sure.
I can't enjoy it. I can't enjoy music. There's like a certain genre of music I can still allow myself to listen to, but music in general, it's dead to me.
It's sad.
Or dead to me. Yeah, and like there's no entertainment here. You know what I mean? There's like just gaining knowledge. That's about all. That's about all there's left. Is to
Now, I love watching movies and shows and stuff like that. I'm a writer, all that stuff. But a lot of times I'll be all right. But sometimes I'll watch something and something will be in it, and I'm like, anyone see this? Like, you know what this is talking about?
Man.
And you just sitting there like, and no one knows because they didn't go into it.
Right.
Like, I'll give a before we end here, a perfect example. The movie of I think it's called Fresh. Okay. It's got the guy from the Marvel hero movies that was Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan, right?
Okay. Yeah.
He plays this debonair, handsome dude this girl meets. They hit it off. He takes her away to a cabin within 2 weeks of knowing her. Obviously, we know this is probably not going to go well.
Right.
But anyway, long story short, I'm not trying to spoil it. So you want to watch it and you're listening, tune out of this part. But he's a cannibal. But not only is he a cannibal, he kidnaps women, kills them, cuts them up, and sells the meat.
Fresh.
He's the 1% of the 1%. Okay? This is what he said. And his clientele are very, very rich and very wealthy and very powerful and all this stuff. Yeah. Here's the part that you're like, okay. Towards the end of the movie, it shows his clients. And he's shipping the meat boxes, like in a HelloFresh box. They get every Friday, they get a box of human meat, and they eat it like steak, whatever. Well, it's showing these powerful people eating. How is there one of the people eating on a white plate, and the meat's in the center, which is obviously a piece of one of the girls. He cuts it up, he's eating it, it's showing the montage of this. And guess what symbol is sitting right in the middle of the plate?
POTUS.
Baphomet, the horned freaking demon. Literally under the meat, when he's eating, he cuts it and he takes it up. The red logo with the circle in the face with the horns.
Yeah.
And if you know about that. Yeah. And I literally looked at him and I said, I can't believe they just put this in here. Yeah. This is what this is talking about.
Now, they have to let you know, man. They have to let you know.
And that's what I've tried to explain to people is that it's probably like one of these rules that exist that they have to let you know. Now they let you, it's a loophole because they're not like outright saying it. They're putting it in a movie.
Right.
They're putting it in a movie. So it's one of two things. Either they're letting you know because they have to continue whatever ritual, whatever's going on, or whoever wrote the movie knows some shit and they were trying to let it out. It could be either way, because that's something that I could see a writer doing to try to like push the knowledge out there. But I'm telling you, they have to let you know. And even in this movie about it, I'm like, it could have been anything on that plate. It could have been blank. Right. It purposely was the face of Baphomet.
Yep. It's that kind of stuff right there, man. And that's what steals my joy.
Yeah, and then you're like, the movie was okay. It wasn't that good anyway. But then I was just like, wow, like,
what else is this movie doing?
What else is the movie doing?
It's normalizing cannibalism.
Yes, I mean,
which is the next step of depravity?
Of course.
And what come out? Like I said, Netflix. What has hit Netflix? The biggest show to ever hit Netflix, maybe. Like other than things.
The Dahmer one. Yeah.
Yes.
Literally cooking hearts.
Yeah, I work at a high school. I teach kids. I have 100 kids in my classroom throughout the day. Mm-hmm. I've had about 20. Have you watched Dahmer yet? I'm like, no. And quit watching that.
You're like, you shouldn't be watching that.
But it's just that evil, man. And it's to normalize. I'm telling you, it's to normalize cannibalism. Which sounds insane. Little kids and cannibalism.
But it's not surprising.
No, it's not. We're in the days of Noah. It's coming. This is our last round.
I feel you.
I love talking conspiracy, man. It's not even conspiracy theory. It's critical thinking.
It's at this point, it's obvious.
Yes.
It's obvious. Now, for 2 years, I was like, it's getting worse. We're losing. We're all screwed. And then I started seeing things and looking at things differently. And it is still the show, I like to call it, looks bad because it's supposed to. But when you see other things behind it and different articles that are being censored, you're like, oh, this is actually turning around. They just don't want you to know that.
Yeah, let's hope.
Yeah. I'm
Man,
good. I think we're good.
yeah, that's maybe.
I wouldn't have chose to live in the time that we all lost.
Good point.
Mm-mm.
Good point.
It's the greatest movie ever told, man. The comeback story,
Yeah.
the kicking the Dark King off the crown. You know,
That's what we need. That's what we
Mhm.
need, man. Jordan, I appreciate you, man. God
Absolutely.
bless you. Can't wait to have you back on the show. We'll pull into some more topics, man.
Yeah, I got way too much knowledge, man. 2-3 years of straight up diving into the.
Let's do it. Let's do. We'll do theories next time.
I like it. I like it. All right, I'll text you the links that you're asking about.
Yes, please do.
All right, man. Thank you.
Be good.
Yes, sir.